Good evening. My name is Alfred Ira, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to Chabad of the Conejo's virtual Gala, a celebration of music and inspiration. I was born and raised in the city of Kishinev in Moldova, which at the time was under the iron fist of the Soviet Union. Behind closed doors, my parents spoke Yiddish, and we identified as Jews, but on the outside we kept our identity hidden. Any observance of Judaism was dangerous and therefore non-existent. After immigrating to the United States at age 26 with my young family, I tried to reconnect with my Jewish roots. But it was only after I discovered Chabad of the Conejo that things really began to click for me. The people at Chabad are so warm and welcoming. The learning is so deep, and the spirit is so uplifting. Thanks to Chabad, I have finally come home to who I truly am. For 30 years, the same could be said for tens of thousands of Jews living in the Ukraine, where Chabad built a huge network of schools, synagogues, orphanages, and outreach centers. Now, tragically, our fellow Jews are on the run again. Although the evil and the lies coming out of Moscow are nothing new to me, like everyone else, I have been shocked and angered by the senseless destruction and atrocities being committed against Ukraine. At the same time, I have been very inspired by many things I have observed over these past few months, including the way Jewish communities around the world have been stepping up to help rescue and support our fellow Jews in danger. Our community here in the Conejo Valley has been no exception. Tonight we begin our program with a powerful song in the form of a letter from a Jew in war-torn Ukraine, as he bears his heart and soul to his brothers and sisters around the world. Please watch and listen closely as Benny Friedman sings Dear Am Israel.
How are you, my dear Am Yisrael? I'm writing from war-torn Ukraine. I know we're thousands of miles apart, not too far to sense each other's pain. The bombs rain down here with no reprieve, fear a constant in our hearts. And tonight we're making a move to leave, heading toward the border in the dark. Hey, cry, piercing the souls of Jews truly exiled, but yet we're Jews of courage, whose faith is stronger than war. Your love is keeping us whole, hearts joined across the ocean. I feel you're right here with me, supporting your holy brother. On every crowded bus and train, families flee to survive. I barely recognize my Ukraine, but I'm certain our future's still alive. In times of peace, you have come to pray. The Baal Shem Tov, the Maggid and Reb Nachman. I won't give up hoping for that day when we greet Moshiach in Yerushalayim. Hey, cry, piercing the souls of Jews truly exiled, but what can I do with so many Jewish lives at stake? In truth, the power lies with you, and the world of a difference you can make. The strength of armies, the roar of tanks are never the force in control. For nothing stirs Hashem's rachamim like pure ahavas Yisrael.
Thank you, Benny, for that heart-stirring opening to tonight's program. Good evening. My name is Rabbi Moshe Brisky, and on behalf of all of us at Chabad of the Conejo, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to our virtual gala entitled HINENI, honoring Sam and Gina Socher and paying tribute to the late Carrie Greenberg of blessed memory. We have an action-packed program of music, entertainment, and inspiration in store for you this evening, so please be sure to stay with us to the very end. One of the most powerful statements in the entire Torah and in all of Judaism is captured in a single word. That word is HINENI. Here I am. When God summoned Abraham to perform some of the most astounding acts of devotion and sacrifice, so as to change the direction of an immoral and uncivilized world, our forefather responded with HINENI. Here I am. The first Jew in history set the precedent, and that spirit of HINENI has been carried forth by his descendants throughout the millennia, from the saintliest of prophets to the simplest of unsung heroes. HINENI. Here I am. When beckoned to the challenges of their times and circumstances, be it in their local communities or across the oceans, our people have never averted their eyes or closed their hearts in apathy and indifference, but have always stepped forward with compassion and concern, fortitude and commitment to make things better. HINENI comes from the essence of the Jewish soul. It says, here I am. Count me in. I'm ready to do my part. I'm ready to embrace my mission. And what is the guiding principle of Chabad, if not HINENI? We are here to serve the physical and spiritual needs of our Jewish brethren, whatever those may be, wherever they may be. As some of you know, Chabad has more than 200 rabbis and emissaries who have been tending to the Jewish communities across the Ukraine, some from even back in the days of the former Soviet Union. And throughout this crisis, they have been on the front lines, often putting their lives at risk, working round the clock not only to arrange safe passage for thousands of Jews to Poland and Moldova and Germany and Israel and other countries, but also to look after the needs of the refugees once they get there. These rabbis and rebbitzins have not stopped working for a minute on behalf of the Jews of Ukraine. HINENI, we are here. And as Alfred mentioned, when our colleagues in the Ukraine asked for help, our own Chabad of the Conejo community responded, not just with our thoughts and prayers, but with real financial support and donations of truckloads of clothing and supplies. We said, Hineni, we are here for you. Time and again, when Jews around the world have come face to face with tragedy or crisis, from hurricanes and floods displacing people in coastal cities, to grieving families of fallen soldiers, to victims of terror, to Jews finding themselves isolated or in danger in the far-flung corners of the earth, Chabad's response has consistently been, you are not alone. Hineni, we are here for you. Even so, none of this comes at the expense of the needs of our own communities. Throughout the restrictions and the lockdowns of the pandemic, when many people were hurting terribly, Chabad of the Conejo did not shut its doors. In fact, it opened them wider, so as to say Hineni to those in need. When children need their vital education, Hineni. When adults are seeking to study and grow, Hineni. When families need to be part of a dynamic, vibrant, and growing Jewish community, Hineni. When children with special needs long for friendship and inclusion, Hineni. When seniors need somebody to come by and visit and bring them some goodies and some good cheer, Hineni. When people are facing a crisis, be it emotional, spiritual, or financial, Hineni. We are here. We are here for you and for those near and dear to you. How are we able to do all this? The answer is, thank God there are folks like you who offer a Hineni response of your own. When the call goes out for people who appreciate the importance of our work to lend their support, you say, Hineni, Chabad, you count on us. We are here with you all the way. So to all those who have already contributed towards our virtual Gala campaign, we thank you from the depths of our hearts for supporting our efforts and facilitating our growth. For those who have not yet had a chance to pledge or contribute, or to those who are perhaps inspired to add to their donation, please click on the Donate Now button on the lower part of your screen. You can do this now or at any time during tonight's program that you may be so moved. And if you're watching this on the YouTube platform and you don't see that button, please go to chabadgala.com and it'll show up for you there. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to feel the magic in the air, Hineni style. Get ready to clap your hands and tap your feet to the music and imagery of Chabad of the Conejo in action.
Feel the magic in the air. Ale, 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 בתוך הלב דואר. Ale, 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 feel the magic in the air. Ale, 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 בתוך הלב דואר. Feel the magic in the air. Feel the magic in the air. Ale, 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 בתוך הלב בוער. Ale, 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 feel the magic in the air. Ale, 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 בתוך הלב בוער. Ale, ale, ale. זה הניגון שבאוויר. אני פתאום רוצה לשיר. כי השמחה גדולה מאוד. הלילה בא לי רק לרקוד. זה משהו לא נורמלי שהשמחה עושה לי. האור בנשמה, הלב עומד תודה. זה משהו לא נורמלי שהשמחה עושה לי. הכל באמונה. Feel the magic in the air. Ale, ale, ale,
ממך הכל ורוד כי רבי נחמן כבר אמר לא לפחד זה העיקר זה משהו לא נורמלי שהשמחה עושה לי האור בנשמה הלב עומד תודה זה משהו לא נורמלי שהשמחה עושה לי הכל באמונה Feel the magic in the air עלה 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 בתוך הלב בוער עלה 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 Feel the magic in the air עלה 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 בתוך הלב בוער עלה 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 Feel the magic in the air עלה 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 בתוך הלב בוער עלה 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 Feel the magic in the air עלה 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 בתוך הלב בוער עלה 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 Feel the magic in the Feel the magic in the air עלה 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 בתוך הלב בוער עלה 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 Feel the magic in the air עלה 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 בתוך הלב בוער עלה 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 Feel the magic in the air Feel the magic in the air
Chabad in action. You gotta love it. As I'm sure everyone tuning in tonight is well aware, the impetus and driving force behind Chabad is the leadership and enduring legacy of the Lubavitcher Rebbe, Rabbi Menachem Mendel Schneerson of saintly memory. What was it the Rebbe imparted to his followers that so motivated us to spare no effort, to go to the ends of the earth if need be, to reach out to a fellow Jew? Perhaps more than anything else, it was the deeper appreciation for the priceless treasure, the infinite wealth of untapped potential that lies within us all. When the Rebbe looked at a person, he did not just see him or her for who they are today, but for whom they were yet capable of becoming tomorrow. He inspired us to believe in God, to believe in each other, and to believe in ourselves. And he showed us how that is a package deal. If only you understood your own greatness and that of your brother, what a world of good you could do. We call it hidden treasures.
Nach Fayidne sich jedu auf dem Wort von dem Baal Shem Tov. Kisiya Atem Eretz Chefetz, jeder Ried befragt, wird geglichen zu Eretz Chefetz zu Ort.
So I bought a Greyhound bus ticket for $100 and I went off to look for America. I went around the States meeting many, many rabbis of all kinds. And eventually I got to see the Rebbe in a meeting that changed my life. I asked the Rebbe my questions, the questions of a young sophomore student. He got through them quite rapidly, and that was the extraordinary moment when he suddenly did a role reversal. My questions ended, and his questions began. How many Jewish students were there at Cambridge? How many came along to the Jewish Society? We estimated in those days that we were losing 90% of our Jewish students who were just drifting away. And the Rebbe started saying, and what are you doing about it? And I really didn't expect this because I never saw myself as a leader or somebody involved in as it were, reaching out. And I suddenly realized the Rebbe was challenging me to go and lead.
Sie wird angerufen Eretz Chefetz, der Fall, was inne wenig kriegen, a wohnen Tevis und Margolies, sie liegt ab Mayim Chayim, sie liegen Kamo Eitzes, was sie seine Gonus bemavi ho Adomo.
The Rebbe taught me something very important, that the most transformative moments in your life happen when somebody else believes in you more than you believe in yourself.
Der Unterschied in uns ist da bei einem, was gefunden sich Korriv. Zu dem Eberflach, beim Mehle darf man ein bisschen agrobter. Gefindt man gleich dem Even Tevo, gefindt gleich dem Mayim Chaim. Sie da a Sehne, was man darf groben tiefer und noch tiefer, kdei herabzunehmen mit alle Unionen, Hamalimim und Mastirim.
Last night at London, Jonathan Sacks became the new chief rabbi, a figurehead for the whole of Anglo Jewry, and one of the most influential rabbis in the world.
That's what the Rebbe did. You saw your reflection in his eyes, and you were suddenly much bigger than you thought you were.
Danach wird Taschen allein arbeiten mit sich und dem, wenn man hat verchattet in der Piulo-Teva oder Meister-Teva, muss es sein ähnlich heftig bis es kommen in der Meime du Matzo von Hawaii, Gimlach, Leila und Wort, was Wort ist erhechtet ähnlich heftig, bei Bias, Mashiach, Zitkenu, Bekorev, Mamar.
I know. You've got a lot on your mind weighing you down. Inflation, interest rates, stock market volatility, war and instability, political division and uncertainty, anxiety abounds. Well, this may seem counterintuitive, but oftentimes the best way to overcome adversity is to transcend, set aside our fears to give full expression to the faith and joy within our souls. Simcha poritz geder. Joy breaks all barriers. The more challenging the circumstances, the more we must access that inner joy and just let go. The greater the challenges, the more we must cherish and appreciate the many blessings in our lives, including the ones we tend to take for granted. Joy and gratitude, that's the winning combination in life. Perhaps no one can help us get there better than the witty and folksy singer you're about to meet, singing his hit song, Thank You Hashem, the great Joey Newcomb.
Thank you Hashem. 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 Hoy tu la Hashem ki toy. Ki li yoy lam chazdoy. Hoy tu la Hashem ki toy. Ki li yoy lam chazdoy. Hoy tu la Hashem ki toy. Ki li yoy lam chazdoy. Hoy tu la Hashem ki toy. Ki li yoy lam chazdoy. Hapava moide es Hashem. Hapava moide es Hashem. Hapava moide es Hashem. Ki li yoy lam chazdoy. Hapava moide es Hashem. Hapava moide es Hashem. Hapava moide es Hashem. Ki li yoy lam chazdoy. Ay dirilalam, thank you Hashem. Dirilalam, thank you Hashem. Ay dirilalam, thank you Hashem. Thank you Hashem. תודה רבה לך, השם יתברך. תודה רבה לך, השם יתברך. תודה רבה לך, השם יתברך. Thank you Hashem. Answer me, come, here we go. I did it I'm here you. I did it Did it Thank you Hashem. Thank you Hashem. Thank you Hashem. Thank you Hashem. Ay dirilalam, spasiba Bogu. Dirilalam, spasiba Bogu. Dirilalam, dirilalam. Thank you Hashem. How's it go over there? Dirilalam, slava Bogu.
Love, Slava Bogu, хорошо, little shout out there. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Hoidul Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Hoidul Hashem. Thank you, Hashem. Love. Thank you, Hashem. Thank you. Thank you, Hashem.
Years ago, on a flight from Chicago, a rabbi had occasion to strike up a conversation with a fellow passenger, an elderly Holocaust survivor, who was on his way back from a family wedding. What this man shared with the rabbi was so inspiring that his words were later recorded in a unique way, as you'll soon see. The man related that after being liberated from the concentration camps, he decided to return to his hometown of Vilna to see what might be left of his shattered life. Following months of traveling, he, along with some 400 other survivors, arrived in Vilna, only to find that nothing and nobody was as it was before. When one member of the group announced that night to be Simchat Torah Eve, they all ran to the synagogue, resolved to dance with the sacred Torah scrolls as they had done in the years prior to their nightmare. Upon entering the shul, however, it was a horrific sight of desecration that met their eyes. Tattered pages, bullet holes, and bloodstains. To add insult to injury, upon opening the Holy Ark to remove the Torahs for their hakafo dancing, they discovered to their great dismay that the Ark was bare, no Torahs. But then they turned and saw 2 little children among them. They foisted those beautiful children upon their shoulders, and they danced the hakafot that way long into the night. It was the most awesome Simchas Torah ever, for the message was more than clear. Through our children, the Torah would live on. Through our children, the Jewish people would live on. Am Yisrael Chai. Here's a truly dynamic duo, cantors Shulam and Yankee Lemmer, singing for us, The Man from Vilna.
I met a man last Sunday. He was on his way back home from a wedding in Chicago. He was traveling alone. He said he came from Vilna, a survivor, I could tell. I helped him with his suitcase. He could not walk very well.
A steward gave us coffee as we settled on the plane. I asked him why he bothers. At his age there'd be no blame. No simcha is a burden, although I miss my dear late wife. Then he shared with me a story that has changed my view of life.
We danced round and round in circles as if the world had done no wrong. From evening until morning, filling up the shul with song. Though we had no Sifrei Torah to clutch close to our hearts, in their place we held the future of a past so torn apart.
I remember liberation, joy and fear both intertwined. Where to go and what to do, and how to leave the pain behind. My heart said go to Vilna, dear, I pray it once again, for the chance to find a loved one, or perhaps a childhood friend.
It took many months to get there, from late spring to the fall. And as I, many others, close to 400 in all, slowly there was healing, darkened souls now mixed with light, when someone proudly cried out, Simchas Torah is tonight.
We danced round and round in circles, as if the world had done no wrong, from evening until morning, filling up the shul with song. Though we had no Sifrei Torah to clutch close to our hearts, in the place we held the future of a past so torn apart.
We ran as one towards the shul, our spirits in a trance. We tore apart the barricade, in defiance we would dance. But the scene before us shook us to the core. Scraps of cedar, bullet holes, bloodstains on the floor.
Turning to the eastern wall, we looked on in despair. There'd be no scrolls to dance with, the holy ark was bare. Then we heard two children crying, a boy and girl who no one knew. We realized no children were among us but those two.
We danced round and round in circles, as if the world had done no wrong, from evening until morning, filling up the shul with song. Though we had no Sifrei Torah to gather in our arms, in the place we held those children, the Jewish people would live on.
We danced round and round in circles, as if the world had done no wrong, from evening until morning, filling up the shul with song. Though we had no Sifrei Torah to clutch and hold up high, in their place we held those children. Am Yisrael Chai. Am Yisrael
Chai. It was true 3,334 years ago, when we first became a nation. It's been true across the span of generations. It remains just as true today. The greatest guarantee, indeed the only guarantee of a Jewish future, is the education of our children. Good evening. My name is Chanasteri Kahanev, and I have the privilege of directing Chabad of the Conejo's Gan Preschool. This wonderful program introduces our little ones to the joys of learning and an appreciation for their heritage during their most formative years. We do it through lessons and stories, art and music, games and playtime. Above all, we do it with love. As the Gan is about to enter its third year, we see great things ahead for our growing preschool right here in the Conejo Valley. In a moment from now, you will meet one of my favorite couples, Samantha and Brian Molinar, whose son Jack has been attending the Gan since its inception. Watch as Samantha and Brian sit for a nice little chat with Rabbi Abba Perlmutter of Chabad of Long Beach. Our friend Rabbi Perlmutter will be conducting a few such short but fascinating interviews with interesting members of our community at different points throughout our program. Here are Samantha and Brian Molinar sharing their story with Rabbi Abba Perlmutter.
I'd like to start this evening with a wonderful young couple that we have here tonight. Their name is Samantha and Brian Molinar, and I welcome you tonight to Chabad of the Conejo Extravaganza. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure having you. Samantha, you've been involved with Chabad of the Conejo for a long time, so why don't we start with you tonight and tell us a little bit how you got involved and some of your early recollections of Chabad.
My earliest memories are of Judaism is walking to temple every week with my dad and my siblings. And it was on that walk that kind of started the appreciation for the family time, that tradition. You know, on that walk we got to talk about life, and it allowed us that bonding time, you know, throughout the week. It's so busy, and this was a moment where we got to spend it with our dad, and seeing other kids at shul who were, you know, maybe going to a public school like I was at that time, and it kind of normalized Judaism.
And you've continued that, I mean, through your younger years and your teenage years, you always used to go to Chabad?
I would always find myself coming back. Like even in college, I found myself seeking the Chabad or the Jewish rabbi and having Friday night services and enjoying a Friday night meal, a Shabbat, with the whole community of Jewish people at my college. And so I was always coming back to it.
Brian, I'm giving you an opportunity here. This is going to be seen by at least 2-3 million people if you leave it up to Rabbi Brisky.
That's it? Okay.
That's it. I mean, it's 2-3 million if first run. I mean, reruns, who knows what could happen. Could be picked up by Hulu, who knows what. So just take
some royalties involved.
Some
there?
royalties, possibly,
Okay.
possibly. But
We'll talk.
You got to get involved with Chabad after you met Sam.
That's right.
And Sam kind of brought you in to the world of Chabad of the Conejo. What have been some of your positive experiences with Chabad since you've started to get really more involved?
You know, it's just been a great community, and you know, I feel like you can have real, deep, personable conversations with people, and that, you know, that was a lot different than what I had experienced growing up. So I just, you know, I immediately connected with the community. I participate in learning with the rabbis as often as I can, one-on-one. You know, when my daughter goes to Hebrew school, I'll go up and see Label and put on tefillin, and we'll talk about, you know, something meaningful during that time.
The rumor out there is that your kids actually like going to services on Saturday.
Yeah.
Would you care to respond to that?
Yeah, they ask every week. They beg every week to come to shul.
They actually, just to comment on that, my daughter, she'll wake up in the morning and she's so happy to put on her shul clothes and get ready for shul.
How old are they?
5 and 3.
What's their names?
Olivia is the 5-year-old, and Jack, he's 3.
He's 3 years
Yaakov Yisrael.
Oh, beautiful. Do they participate in any of the other programs at Chabad besides coming to service on Shabbat?
My daughter goes to the Hebrew school, and she loves it.
Oh.
I mean, when I say loves it, I mean she is thrilled, like biggest smile on her face, excited energy, just cannot wait for Hebrew school every week.
Let's talk a little bit about Jack. Jack goes to the Gan, the preschool at Chabad of the Conejo. Can you please talk to us a little bit about why you chose the Gan, what kind of influence it had on Jack?
I just love Hanasteri, and I think she has the biggest heart, and she parents in a similar way to what I tried to do for my kids, with positivity, with love, with Judaism. And there was, I think, only 9 kids when she first opened, Jack being one of them, and he loves it. I mean, when I say loves it, it doesn't do it justice. He loves it. He can't wait for school every day. And to see what he comes home with, learning. He is speaking Hebrew to a certain degree. He's learning the alphabet. He's singing Hebrew songs. And he comes home knowing and understanding the holidays. He's getting prepped weeks ahead of time. And he comes home with all these projects, and he really understands the story. He knows each person of the story, what they do. He has like a whole 2-minute song about the story that he's able to recite beautifully. And it's just with joy. He's loving it. He's thriving.
Brian, could you have ever dreamt of something like this growing up, that your son is going to come home from a Chabad preschool? What does it mean to you to be able to see this and to appreciate what you're seeing in your son?
It's just amazing to see. I mean, I met Samantha when I was, I think, 22 and didn't know anything. And, you know, and to see my son, you know, washing and saying the prayers at his age is pretty moving.
Give me your best 2-minute pitch of why someone like me, who's maybe searching but maybe not searching for Judaism, why would I want to come to Chabad of the Conejo?
You know, we all want our children to become independent, productive members of society. And I would say that through Chabad, it's, you know, it helps you align your purpose, align your values, and then you tend to see more intentional actions with your behaviors.
I would say that most of us, whether we know it or not, are searching to feel that connection, or searching for our souls to connect with something bigger than ourselves. And when you go to Chabad, you feel that, and you get spiritually filled up, and you're surrounded by people who are non-judgmental, accepting, who love you. You guys can build this community. And that community is everything, especially when you're raising kids. We need that community.
I want to bless you both, that you should both grow together in Yiddishkeit, see much nachas from your children, grow together with Chabad of the Conejo, and I want to thank you very much for doing this for us today. Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.
Thank you.
Once upon a time, Jewish kids dreaded having to attend Hebrew school, in addition to all of their regular public school classes. Once upon a time, it was understood that a bar or bar mitzvah symbolized the end of a young person's Jewish education and involvement. Once upon a time, Jewish teenagers and college students would be embarrassed of their identity and be intimidated by those who would make them feel that way. Well, today, Chabad's Hebrew School and C-Teen, Hebrew High and campus outreach programs are pushing back on all of those notions in a big way. Children at Chabad not only enjoy their time at Hebrew school, which is always exciting and engaging, they also look forward to continuing their Jewish studies and social activities long after their bar or bat mitzvahs. For high schoolers, Chabad offers study groups and rap sessions, cultural activities and field trips, Friday night dinners and holiday events, retreats and Shabbatons, among many other social and educational programs. As a result, the new normal amongst our youth today is, I'm a Jew and I'm proud and I'll sing it out loud. To sing those lyrics for us, here is a special music video featuring our very own C-Teeners from right here in the Conejo Valley, led by singer Yossi Redel.
We've existed so long cause the Torah kept us strong. The Torah will never disappear. When all you see is night, just remember you are light. Uplift a friend, they'll make you smile. I'm a Jew and I'm proud and I'll sing it out loud, cause forever that's what I'll be. I'm a Jew and I'm proud, and it's without a doubt Hashem is always watching over me. I'm a Jew and I'm proud, and I'll sing it out loud with my brothers and sisters from CT. I'm a Jew and I'm proud, and it's without a doubt Hashem is always watching over me. underestimate the power of the youth. The war is already won, and the world will be as one. Open your eyes and sing your song. I'm a Jew and I'm proud, and I'll sing it out loud, 'cause forever that's what I'll be. I'm a Jew and I'm proud, and it's without a doubt Hashem is always watching over me. I'm a Jew and I'm proud, and I'll sing it out loud with my brothers and sisters from CT. I'm a Jew and I'm proud, and it's without a doubt Hashem is always watching over me. כי השם שומר עליי. Hashem siempre está protegiéndome. Dios nous regarde et nous protège. Oh. Hashem is always watching over me. Everybody say ah. Everybody say ooh. Everybody say I am proud to be a Jew. Everybody say ah. Everybody say ooh. Everybody say I am proud to be a Jew. I'm a Jew.
I am here with a fascinating young lady by the name of Talia Lewis. Welcome, Talia.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here today as a guest. Your story starts not so long ago. You're a young lady, I think in Beverly Hills you grew up, so why don't you take it from there and tell us a little bit about your upbringing and how you got involved.
Of course. So I grew up in Beverly Hills until I was 12. And growing up, I always went to public schools and then to Hebrew schools twice a week and learned, the basic biblical stories and things like that. And I learned Hebrew. And then when we moved out to Camarillo, when I was about 15, I got told from Rabbi Lang to go to the local Chabad C-Teen of Conejo chapter. It was the first kickoff event ever of this chapter starting, and I joined and I loved it. I made friends instantly, and I actually became the first president of the chapter.
Can you tell us a little bit, people may not be familiar, what is C-Teen?
C-Teen stands for Chabad Teen.
Okay.
And it's basically the Jewish youth group for young high school Jewish students to join and meet friends and learn and just have fun and be together.
What are some of the things that attract high school students to C-Teens?
I think the initial attraction to C-Teen is the friendships that they make and the excitement and the fun that it is, and the warm, open environment that C-Teen provides. Really just so wholesome. But I think what really keeps teens there and makes them want more of C-Teen and want to learn more and want to grow more is just the MS, the truth of C-Teen and of Torah and of learning. I was also involved in the Conejo Hebrew High while I was involved in C-Teen, because my initial introduction to C-Teen, with my initial introduction to C-Teen, I learned about the Conejo Hebrew High and I joined right away.
What is that? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
It's basically like your Hebrew school classes after public school, but it was so much deeper and so much more wholesome than I had ever had before with Hebrew school.
Did you enjoy going?
I loved it. I was able to learn, Hebrew and learn, Jewish studies so much more than really I had ever learned before.
let's continue Talia's journey, if you don't mind. So you get on a plane, you fly out to Texas A&M at College Station, you enroll there. What's that like, going from the Camarillo / the Conejo to College Station, Texas,
right?
And Jewish life there? What's it like?
Definitely a change of culture. Definitely a culture shock, as they say.
Right. Talk to us about your involvement in Chabad at College Station. Like, what did you do? Did you participate? Did you run any programs? Go ahead, please.
Sure. I think because of C-Teen and because of my involvement already in C-Teen, I was excited to get involved right away and hit the ground running on my Chabad on campus.
How many Jewish students would you say are at Texas A&M?
Approximately 250 to 300. And yet we've had Shabbos meals before where there are 80 or 100 people.
Wow, that's incredible. We know what's going on campus, throughout the country. Difficult to be Jewish on campus these days, more than maybe 10 or 15 or 20 years ago. Talk to us a little bit about the culture and maybe a message for college students throughout the country.
When I was proud of my identity and proud of who I was on campus and really showed that, people had a lot of respect for that pride that I had. And I think the biggest message to lots of other college students that maybe have this problem is that they should be strong in who they are, because the stronger they are, the more respect they're going to have and the less conflict that they're going to have, because the conflict is only trying to break them. The conflict is really they have to fight back by being stronger. The best suggestion I have is to get involved in any way possible at your Chabad on campus, because they have so many different opportunities to get involved in so many different programs and different classes or just socials to be able to meet other Jews and get involved in maybe not such a religious way. It just has, just to get involved to, be social and make friends.
I hear a big mazel tov in your life, and you're getting married. Tell me a little bit about the lucky guy.
Lev Yaakov is his name,
okay.
And he's actually from Northridge, California.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding me? There's a Northridge and Camarillo. I mean, it's just neighbors.
Right, it's actually closer than you think. It's only 30 minutes of a drive. And he got involved in C-Teen in Northridge and was also one of the first members of his chapter as well.
And if I may ask you, what are your plans? I mean, two kids like this, what are you planning to do?
Speaking together, we both came to the decision to really give back in the same way that was given to us so much in our growth. The same way that the Chabad on campus and the C-Teen Rabbi and Rebbitzin really gave their lives to make sure that our journeys were wholesome and well-rounded and growth-oriented. And so he and I actually both plan to open a Chabad house at some point and be the Rabbi and Rebbitzin of our own little community and give back in the same way that was given to us.
I know without a question that you and Lev Yaakov are going to make incredible shluchim, emissaries of the Rebbe, because you just live that life. I'm sitting with you, it's the first time we've met, and I am just so impressed with you. Just the kind of person that you are, and that will be your greatest advantage. To stick who you are, the truth, the reality of Talia. Thank you so much for coming here today. It was an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much.
In the darkest of moments, as the Jewish people were being led in chains from their homeland by the Babylonians, each of our saintly forebearers in heaven, from Abraham to Moses, tried to intercede on Israel's behalf, to no avail. But then, says the prophet Yirmiyahu, Kol birama nishma, a voice is heard on high, Rachel mivaka al baneha. Our matriarch Rachel cries out for her children, and God can no longer turn away. He says to Rachel, restrain your voice from weeping, and your eyes from tears. Vishavu vanim ligvulam. I will yet bring your children back home. For thousands of years since, Jews have flocked to Kever Rachel, Rachel's tomb, on the road outside Bethlehem, to pour out their hearts in prayer, knowing the special sway our dear Mama Rachel has with our Father in heaven. It is not out of nostalgia alone that Judaism puts the Yiddish mama on a pedestal. There is something uniquely spiritual and powerful about the feelings and prayers coming from the heart and soul of a Jewish woman. For many years now, the women at Chabad have had special gatherings. Whether to celebrate Rosh Chodesh or an upcoming holiday, we have enjoyed creating art, dancing, baking challah, and of course, learning and studying together, empowering ourselves as Jewish women. Our programs are educational, socially stimulating, enjoyable, and impactful. All are welcome to join us for future events. Recently, during COVID, we organized a Tehillim group to pray for those who are in crisis, be it related to health or other matters. Collectively, we have completed nearly 70,000 chapters of Psalms. God bless all who participated, and may He answer all of our prayers and wipe away our tears forever. And now, here to sing for us a beautiful, heartfelt song called Mama is world-renowned Hasidic singer Avraham Fried.
Koil, 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 beramo, beramo, nishmo, rochel mevako, mevako al boneho. Koil, 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 beramo, beramo, nishmo, rochel mevako, mevako al boneo. Mame, 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 cry for us. Mame, 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 bait for us. Storm the winds with your voice. Shavu v'shavu vonim ligvulom. Mame, 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 cry for us. Mame, 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 bait for us. Storm the winds with your voice. V'shavu, v'shavu, vonim ligvulom.
tears can a mother cry? Enough tears, Mama. Bring us home.
It's hard to believe a year has passed since our community suffered the loss of a true Eishes Chayil, a woman of valor, named Carrie Chana Greenberg, of blessed memory. The love and devotion Carrie showed her adoring husband, Stuart, their charming daughter, Jacqueline, and delightful grandchildren, Benjamin and Talia, were matched only by the manner in which they reflected it right back at her. Kamayim panim el panim, says King Solomon. As water reflects a face back to a face, so is one's heart reflected back to them by another. Carrie had a way of engendering such reciprocal feelings within every person she met. She was constantly involved in worthy causes and community affairs. For her wide circle of friends, and for those of us who attend Chabad of Oak Park, the void in our hearts in the wake of Carrie's passing is as gaping as ever. Warm and gracious, friendly and hospitable, colorful and classy, genuine and down-to-earth, Carrie was a beacon of light that drew people close and made her home a favorite destination for those seeking great company or a delicious meal. A superb cook and exquisite baker, she shared generously of her gifts, never knowing just how many guests her affable husband might invite back with him from shul on a Friday night. She was always ready with her welcoming smile and more than ample supply of tasty dishes and desserts. Every Wednesday night, when we held a class on Jewish mysticism at the Greenberg home, Carrie always had a tray of freshly baked pastries waiting at the center of the table. While I'd like to think folks were showing up for the learning, something tells me it was more about Carrie's baked goods. That class continues to this day. We call it Chana's Legacy Hasidic Discourses series. But truth be told, Stuart's store-bought babka and potato chips are not quite measuring up. Every year, before Shavuot, Carrie would bake a variety of tantalizing cheesecakes that would make the Cheesecake Factory blush, and deliver them to the shul for the holiday. Last year, just before the holiday, while in the throes of her illness, Carrie texted what would be her final message to me. Unfortunately, I will not be able to bake the cheesecakes this year for Shavuot, she wrote. I haven't been feeling well, but Stuart and I would like to donate to cover the expense. That's a class act. That's dignity. That's love. That's Carrie Greenberg. Caring, sensitive, and thoughtful to the end. She will forever be missed. Tonight, Chabad of the Conejo is proud to present a memorial tribute to Carrie Greenberg, to be accepted by her husband Stuart Greenberg. Please watch.
Chabad of the Conejo and the Oak Park community mourn the loss of a true woman of valor, Carrie Greenberg.
My mom was always so proud. She was born and raised in the San Fernando Valley, so I guess she's considered a Valley girl. She had two loving parents who I was very close with, and she had a brother as well. Went on a blind date with my dad. They had mutual friends that set them up.
It was everything I was looking for. She was a great gal. She very friendly, very outgoing, comfortable to be with. The conversation just kept going. There was no awkward moments.
Parents were raised Jewish, but very secular, and then they got married, and they both knew that Jewish education was important to them. So I went to Jewish day school as a kid.
So our Jewish journey together started with very little. And then I had my CE, my Chabad encounter.
My parents, personality-wise, were very different from each other, but somehow they made their marriage work. They were married for 40 years.
Meeting this wonderful woman who had joy in her life,
Her priorities set very straight, and I remember from way back when, one of the first things I noticed about Carrie was that her love of family superseded everything.
And a true Ashes Chayil. She was so warm and so giving and would be there for anyone in need. And Carrie was just someone who was always there for me and my family.
It was so nice to have somebody, motherly figure, in California, in a new city that I just moved into. And she really just kind of helped me get some strength.
Carrie was totally inviting. If I said, hey, I brought so-and-so home for Shabbos, or can so-and-so stay for the weekend, or can they stay for the summer, she was all on board.
She wasn't all about herself. She was open for everyone. She made everyone feel so welcome and so good about themselves. That's I think the biggest accomplishment of Carrie, that she made each and every person feel good about themselves.
And Carrie was the one that did it. I'm not I don't cook. Carrie was a master, she was a master in the kitchen.
She was a fighter, and even, when it came to all of her illnesses, she never said, why me, poor me. She always just kept going. This is just another step in my life, and I have to get through it, and I have my daughter, and I have, later in life it was her grandkids.
I used to take her to Cedar Sinai to get care, to get medical care. And before we'd go, she would go to the bakeries and buy pastries and things for all the people that she'd interact with. The staff, she'd walk in with bags of pastries and rogalach and things to give everybody else. She always was giving and supportive and warm.
Everything that she went through, and the smile on her face, and the never complaining, and always looking for the positive and looking forward, and knowing that one day she would have grandkids, and that was her most important thing. And
Carrie was the queen of everything culinary. I mean, she cooked and she baked, and she was amazing.
The idea came to make a cookbook of her recipes shortly after she had passed away.
It's absolutely fabulous recipes, and it's all the recipes that she actually used.
And everybody got the cookbook, and it's wonderful. It sits on my kitchen table, and I love it.
Carrie had a quilt that she was working on for the past probably 15 years. I call it her masterpiece. She never quite finished it.
this quilt, when it's completed, will be the cover of the Ark in the synagogue, and will be cherished, and Carrie will be remembered every Shabbos.
A lot of love. That's why this year has been very difficult, because we truly love each other.
We miss you, Mom, and we love you so much.
We are now honored to have Stuart Greenberg with us here in studio to accept the memorial tribute to his late wife, Carrie, on behalf of the Greenberg family. The engraving reads, "Remembrance of the righteous brings blessing." Proverbs chapter 10, verse 7. Presented to the Greenberg family in loving memory of Carrie Greenberg, a blessed memory. Her flame of goodness, kindness, warmth, friendship, and hospitality shall forever shine brightly in our community and illuminate the lives of those touched by her dignity and grace. Chabad of the Conejo, HINENI Virtual Gala, June 15th, 2022.
Thank you, Rabbi Levine. Rabbi Levine, rabbis and rebbitzins of Chabad, and the friends and family who are joining us this evening. Thank you so much for this amazing memorial tribute to our beloved Carrie. I say ours because Carrie was much greater than just my spouse or mom to Jacqueline and Max and Benjamin and Talia's Grammy. She was and will always be a very big part of this wonderful Chabad of the Conejo community. All our lives are so much better for it. May her memory be a blessing to us, to all of Israel, and mankind.
Thank you, Stuart. And God bless you, Jacqueline, Max, and the grandkids, and all who hold a special place in their hearts for Carrie. In recent years, we've been going through some difficult times. But rather than sink down low in despair and desperation, I think Carrie Greenberg would be the first to tell us to rise up high like the waves, in spite of the ache. Rise up and do it 1,000 times again. Friends, draw closer to your screen, turn up the volume, and listen as the incredible Shulam Lemmer performs the rousing song, Rise Up.
You're broken down and tired of living life on a merry-go-round, and you can't find that fighter, but I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move the mountains, we gonna walk it out. Move the mountains. I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. And I'll rise up high like the waves. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. When the silence isn't quiet and it feels like it's getting hard to breathe, and I know you feel like dying, but I promise we'll take the world to its feet. Move mountains, move mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up, and I'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you. All we need is hope, and for that we have each other, and for that we have each other. Oh, we will rise, we will rise, yeah, we will rise. I'll rise up, rise like the day. I'll rise up in spite of the ache. I'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. And we'll rise up high like the waves. We'll rise up in spite of the ache. We'll rise up, and we'll do it 1,000 times again. For you, for you, for you, for you.
Allow me to bare my soul for a moment. One of the most stressful facets of my job description as a rabbi is having to often ask people for their help and support, financial or otherwise. There's a certain apprehension about the possibility of being told no. Rejection can be quite unpleasant, yes, even for rabbis. Now, there is this one couple out there whereby whenever I'm about to reach out to them, I experience apprehension, but not out of fear that they will say no, rather out of certainty that they will say yes. Sometimes being handed a blank check of kindness and benevolence can also be a weighty responsibility. You'd never want to take advantage of such big-heartedness. And yet, over these past 14 years that I've had the pleasure of knowing Sam and Gina Socher, whatever the need, whatever the project, whatever the request, never once did they allow me to feel that I was imposing. On the contrary, they've always thanked me for the opportunity. No sooner than the phone call is placed, the email is dispatched, or the text message is sent, the yes comes boldly and swiftly. It's just that when it comes to doing something in the service of God or the community, the Sochers have another word for yes. That word is HINENI. And I'm not talking metaphorically either. That is literally the word they use all the time. HINENI, which is, as I explained earlier, means here I am. You can count on me. Whether it's spearheading the remodel of a synagogue or other Chabad facility, building a temporary outdoor sanctuary for us to pray in during COVID, volunteering for every program that calls for lay involvement, co-sponsoring any and every community event, anonymously covering the cost for individuals or families in crisis, or making generous annual contributions to Chabad. Sam and Gina Socher don't just say HINENI, they personify it. They live it. Now, lest you think it coincidental that the Sochers are being honored at a gala event centered on the word HINENI, I'll let you in on a little secret. It actually happened the other way around. It was only after we asked Sam and Gina to be our honorees, to which they, despite their discomfort with honor and recognition, responded with, go ahead, you can say it, HINENI, of course. Only then did it become clear what the theme of this year's campaign had to be. After all, Sam and Gina Socher are the HINENI poster couple of the Conejo Valley. Let alone the fact that Sam and Gina Socher are the nicest people you would ever want to be around. Bright and humorous, kind and generous, courteous and respectful, real and sincere. They have a way of lifting the spirits of all those around them with their refined character and friendly disposition. Indeed, to know Sam and Gina is to love them. Just ask their 6 children and 12 grandchildren with whom they have such close relationships. Ask the clients of Madison Medical Construction, where Sam's efficiency and dependability is surpassed only by his honesty and integrity. Ask those who benefited immensely from Gina's loving and nurturing ways as an educator. Ask anyone at Chabad who's been greeted by the bright twinkles in the eyes and warm smiles on the faces of Mr. and Mrs. HINENI. Actually, rather than have you go and ask, just sit back and we'll bring it to you. Please watch this video.
Chabad of the Conejo is built upon the efforts of pillars of the community, such as Sam and Gina Socher, who stand at the ready saying, HINENI, here I am.
If there is anybody worthy of being Hineni, it's Sam and Gina.
They were some of the first people I met when I first moved here.
Sam and Gina truly represent the concept of Hineni. Here I am. They're an important part of the community.
Sam is always there when somebody needs him.
Proud members of Chabad of Conejo, and we love everything about being here.
We've been living in Agora for about 13 years. My children were going to school here.
Gina was an amazing teacher, and I knew that she was a hands-on teacher doing lots of wonderful things.
Seeing kids that were in her class, the way they would run up to her, and students that she had.
From doing preschool daycare in our home, to raising our children, to teaching at Ilan Ramon Day School, to helping with the grandchildren now. It's just been one continuous thread of care and nurturing.
Love you, Grandma Gigi and Papa. So glad that you guys are being honored.
So proud of you. We love you. Thank you for all you do.
Hi, everyone.
We want to say how happy we are for Grandma Gigi and Papa Sam for receiving this recognition. You guys deserve it.
You honestly do so much for everybody, the community, your friends, your family, and we love you guys, and we're so happy for you. You very well deserved.
Well deserved.
We really just look up to them as parents and as members of the community, and we are so lucky to have them. It was amazing growing up in Agora. Just really feels like such a family, and it still feels like that, you know, every time we come back.
Sam owns a company called Madison Medical, and he specializes in surgical centers, you know, building surgical centers. And I've known the people that he's done this for. And, you know, when you hear consistently what kind of businessman Sam is.
In general, I don't like to wait around for other people to do things. So if I see something needs to be done, I just want to see it done.
Sam put up our beautiful COVID mishkan and this beautiful shul that was renovated.
We're doing this in the shul here, and you look around at what Sam did to redo the shul here. I mean, it's beautiful. You know, it's beautiful. I mean, you talk about a Class 1 job.
Me and Jennifer went through a very, very rough time.
We had 2 major losses in our family. We lost 2 children.
Sam actually spent the night on the floor, sleeping next to me just to make sure that I'm okay. That's the kind of person that he is.
We barely even said the words of what had happened. They were at our doorstep, and Gina brought tons of toilet paper and all kinds of goods because she knew we'd be having a lot of people through our house. And
I woke up in the morning and I look at him, and like with all my pain and suffering, I saw a glimpse of light. That's what Sam did for me. Sam will always be my brother.
With a real comforting and positive energy. They just show up like that all the time.
I didn't think that communities like this existed.
Living in Agora has and will continue to be the most amazing place to be, connected with the shul.
And really seeing what Chabad's around the world and around the city, and what our Chabad does right here in Conejo, it's such a intrinsic part of our day-to-day life.
Who we are, really who we are.
Yeah.
It is now my great pleasure to welcome Sam and Gina Socher to the stage of Virtual Gala 22 as we present them with this well-deserved tribute on behalf of a deeply grateful Conejo Valley Jewish community. The plaque reads, in tribute to Sam and Gina Socher, Honorees, HINENI, Here I Am Virtual Gala 22. Your readiness, diligence, alacrity, and generosity in responding to every project for the benefit of our community are an inspiration to us all. You are the consummate exemplars of the HINENI ideal. Chabad of the Conejo, June 15th, 2022.
Thank you, Rabbi Brisky. And thank you to all the rabbis, rebbitzins, friends, and supporters of Chabad Conejo for this award. I'm still surprised that we're here today instead of so many others in the community who do much more. But when I told the rabbi he had the wrong couple, he assured me that he was certain. So all I can say is HINENI, here we are. All of us are so blessed in this life, even when we don't realize it. It's easy to ask God to satisfy our wants and needs, and to forget that it's up to each of us to answer that same call for help from our friends and neighbors. We are the hands that Hashem uses to bring food to the hungry and help to those who are praying for it. That's what HINENI means to me, and I sincerely thank Chabad for giving us the opportunity to be a very small part of all the work they do here in Conejo and beyond. When part of our family needed a place to stay in Europe after escaping from the Ukraine a few months ago, it was Chabad who stepped up to the plate via the Shluchim in Poland. When our grandkids, both here and all over the country, are looking for a Hebrew school, summer camp, or help putting up a mezuzah, Chabad is there via the Shluchim nearby. When anyone of any faith is looking for help, Chabad volunteers are there to help the local community. How can we say no to that? Honestly, I feel bad about all the things that Chabad does that we don't participate in. There's a bumper sticker I've seen that reads, "Be the change you want to see," and I really believe that. So I want to thank Chabad for giving all of us that opportunity. Being a part of Chabad also enables us to help ourselves learn and grow, from traditional Torah classes and discussions about American civil liberties and law, and more. Chabad of Conejo has given us a large circle of amazing friends and given us a way to lead joyful, meaningful, and fulfilling lives. So as far as we're concerned, if there's any debt of gratitude here, it's the one we owe to Chabad, not the other way around. But if our standing up here somehow serves to strengthen this cause, further its goals, and encourage others to join in, then our response to this is the same as it's been to many Chabad requests. HINENI, we're here, and grateful and honored that you asked. Thank you.
Years before we moved to Agora, our youngest children were already connected with Chabad of Conejo, and their warm approach has had such a positive and lasting impact on the direction of their lives.
For our older children and grandchildren, Chabad is always nearby with programs, activities, and services they need. At the end of the day, there is no greater blessing in life than the nachas, the sense of pride we get from our children and our grandchildren. So as we accept this very kind and thoughtful award, I would like to say that we are doing so on behalf of all the grateful parents, grandparents, and in our case, Gigi's and Papas out there who have discovered the joys of nachas, thanks to Chabad of the Conejo. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless Chabad.
Thank you, Sam and Gina. Congratulations to you and to the entire mishpacha. May you go from strength to strength in the spirit of HINENI, inspiring and motivating us all to ever greater heights. Mazel tov.
Thank you.
Among other things, Chabad of the Conejo is perhaps best described as a community, a diverse and accepting community. In fact, one thing visitors tend to notice right away about the type of people who frequent Chabad and participate in its programs, whether it's synagogue services, adult education classes, or holiday events, is that there is no type. The moment you step foot into any of our 9 centers, you immediately fit right in. Right wing, left wing, married, single, bearded, clean-shaven, observant, semi-observant, non-observant, or just plain curious, you belong. American, Australian, Israeli, Iraqi, Russian, Persian, British, Turkish, South African, Moroccan, Ashkenazi, or Sephardi. Everyone is appreciated for who they are, exactly the way our Jewish family is meant to be. This next music video has our friends from the 8th Day Band invading a kosher supermarket, singing and dancing to their hit song, Ya Lili, juxtaposing Sephardi and Ashkenazi ways of describing different aspects of Jewish life. It celebrates the best type of unity there is, unity within our diversity. Here are Shmuley and Benzi Marcus to show us what Ya Lili is all about.
Yalla yalla ya lili, yalla yalla ya lili, yalla yalla ya lili, Yalla yalla ya lili, oh yalla yalla ya lili. Yalla yalla ya lili, loile, yalla yalla ya lili. Tanz, 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 habibi. Shitahina mazal shitahey, shitahina mazal shitahey, shitahina mazal shitahey. Let's jump out in shitahey. Hatan no savardi kalle noe ashkenazi rachel minu o savardi mame roche ashkenazi baba sali o savardi rabbi nachman ashkenazi shete hele mazal o savardi met shabadi ashkenazi yalla yalla ya lili yalla yalla ya lili loile yalla yalla ya lili yalla yalla ya lili oh yalla yalla ya lili yalla yalla ya lili loile yalla yalla ya lili tanz 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 habibi Gina Gina oh savardi oi di shoma ashkenazi Yossi Avi oh savardi yoi mashmini ashkenazi moadim lesimcha oh savardi agid yontiv ashkenazi shete hele mazal oh savardi mit shabadir ashkenazi yalla yalla ya lili yalla yalla ya lili loile yalla yalla ya lili yalla yalla ya lili oh yalla yalla ya lili yalla yalla ya lili loile yalla yalla ya lili tanz 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 habibi yalla yalla ya lili yalla yalla ya lili loile yalla yalla ya lili yalla yalla ya lili oh yalla yalla ya lili yalla yalla ya lili loile yalla yalla ya lili tanz 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 habibi شتهينا ما زال شتهي شتهينا ما زال شتهي شتهينا ما زال شتهي نرجع بعد شتهي يلا يلا يا ليلي يلا يلا يا ليلي يلا يلا يا ليلي يلا يلا يا ليلي oh يلا يلا يا ليلي يلا يلا يا ليلي يلا يلا يا ليلي tanz 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 habibi tanz 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 habibi
I now have the great honor of sitting with a very distinguished and accomplished individual, the Honorable Judge Frank Johnson. May I call you Frank, Judge?
Of course you may.
Thank you so much. I'm fascinated by the fact that you are a judge appointed to the bench and an observant Jew. Could you please tell us a little bit about how that came about, starting from your appointment as a judge and then the development maybe of your legal career and your Judaism coming together? I mean, I find that incredible.
They actually did happen pretty close to each other. I was appointed to the bench by Governor Wilson in 1995, and shortly thereafter, I would say, we started engaging more and more with Chabad. My wife had been going to lectures given by, primarily, maybe exclusively, by Rabbi Brisky, and she was always telling me how good they were and meaningful. And of course, being a typical husband, I said, that's fine, you go enjoy it. I'm going to watch the ball game or whatever it was.
Sure.
So, but at some point, she convinced me to go with her. I don't remember the first lecture or thing of that sort that I might have gone to, but I do remember the very first service that we attended, which was a Rosh Hashanah service at the hotel in Agora, and I was very, very impressed with Rabbi Brisky's delivery and what he was saying. It was very, very meaningful.
So you go to a Rosh Hashanah service, you're impressed by Rabbi Brisky, your wife is encouraging you,
Yes.
let's just say,
Yes.
to get a little bit more involved. You're being a little bit more reticent. So what happens from then?
Well, I started going more often. And
Just like that?
Yeah, pretty much. I went to some lectures, and I started going to the Shabbos services on Saturday morning pretty often. It was a different culture for me. It's not something I had any real exposure to. But I was never treated with anything less than absolute kindness and respect by everybody I met, congregants, rabbis, everybody. And, that goes a long way to making someone feel comfortable.
I'm just so curious about being an observant Jew and sitting on the bench. Doesn't happen every day. Can you share with us maybe some of interesting happenings that happened to you while you were sitting on the bench?
Sure. Probably the funniest thing that ever happened along those lines was there's a gentleman, he wanted to get out of jury duty. So he told me, I have to be out of here early on Friday because I'm an observant Jew and I can't work after sunset and this and that and the other. And I just looked at it and I said, well, candle lighting isn't until 6:30 and we'll be out of here by 4, so I don't really think you have any problem at all. And his jaw just dropped. And,
Now that the children are out of the home, it's you and the Rebbitzin and you and your wife at home, and you're involved in Chabad. Tell us some of the things that you like, that you enjoy about Chabad today.
Well, we're regular attendees, and everything I liked about it 20 years ago, I still like about it. And the people are tremendous. We've met just amazing people and formed incredible friendships with our fellow congregants. And we always open our home almost always on Shabbos and have guests for Shabbos dinner, and that's very meaningful. Once you actually sit down at the Shabbos table and have a great meal with friendly people who are not judgmental and do not seek to impose anything on you, I suspect that many people find that to be an irresistible lure.
Rabbi Brisky has built up the Conejo Jewish Academy. I mean, his efforts in adult education have been revolutionary.
It's quite remarkable what he has done. We've gone to a number of his lectures, many lectures, and I've actually given a few little talks in conjunction with some of his classes. And it's really remarkable. He gets a very large and diverse audience for these lectures. It's not just the same people you see on Shabbos. It's people you've never seen before. In many cases, not even Jewish people, just people who've heard about it and come to listen, and people who learn a lot from his presentations.
It's been an incredible journey you've been on for 25 years.
It has been quite a remarkable journey. If you had told me, let's say in 1970, that I would be standing with my daughter under a chuppah at an Orthodox Jewish wedding, both daughters actually, on different occasions, I would would have looked at you as if you were crazy. It's been good for me, and it's been good for our family. So it is remarkable, though. I never would have known that this is how things would turn out. So
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful story, and it's a story that has not ended, and I hope it continues for many years.
Amen.
Many years to grandchildren and then to great-grandchildren.
Well, that
and you should
sounds
be in
great.
good health for you and for your wife.
Thank
you so much for coming in today.
Thank you so much.
Abba, Melech HaOlam, Father in heaven, King of the universe, you watch over us and you love us. Rachimna, please have mercy on us. Bestow your blessings upon the United States of America, the land of the free and the home of the brave. Please help repair the breaches in our sense of values, goodness, and decency. Please keep our troops and first responders safe. Abba, 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 dear Father, please protect our beloved land of Israel from those bent on her destruction, from those seeking to shed innocent blood. Give strength to the Tzahal, the brave and faithful soldiers of the IDF, who defend Eretz Yisrael from the acts of terrorism within and attacks by enemies from without. Tate in Himmel, please hasten the day when all hunger and sickness shall be removed from our midst, when nation shall no longer lift sword against nation in the pursuit of conquest or war. This next powerful song by Avram Fried, entitled Abba, was recorded at the Brechat HaSultan Concert Hall in Jerusalem, as well as during an impromptu visit with soldiers of the IDF. We take you there in more ways than one. Join us for a very inspiring trip to the Holy Land.
Oh, shomer aleinu, oh, ohev otanu, oh, Abba shel kulam. Bamilchamot shomer aleinu, banistarut גם שם איתנו, אבא שלי הוא מלך העולם. אבא, 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 מלך העולם. מלך, 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 אבא של כולם. שוב ושוב אתה סולח, רק אליך או בורח אבא. שומר עלינו, אוהב אותנו, אבא של כולם. במלחמות שומר עלינו, בנסתרות גם שם איתנו, אבא שלי הוא מלך העולם.
Ladies and gentlemen, throughout our time together this evening, we tried to present a brief snapshot of Chabad of the Conejo's mission in action, interspersed with quality entertainment. We hope you found it enjoyable and inspiring. I cannot make the point strongly enough that none of this important work would be possible were it not for the generosity of our friends and supporters. I'd like to take this opportunity to once again thank all those who have contributed towards this virtual gala campaign. If you have not participated as of yet, the good news is you haven't missed the boat. You can still very easily and conveniently click on the Donate Now button on the lower part of your screen to make a quick donation. And if you're watching this on the YouTube platform and you don't see that button, you can circle back to ChabadGala.com and it'll show up for you there. While many people were involved in putting this production together, I'd like to give a very special shout out to our producer and director, Mr. Jeff Goldschen of Goldram Communications, for this generous donation of his masterful services. Ladies and gentlemen, we began tonight's program with a stirring song by the very talented Benny Friedman. And we will conclude it with another song by Benny. Only this time, he will do what Chabad, which originated in Russia, would often do in response to Russian aggression and anti-Semitism. Turn it on its head. Rather than allow the forces of darkness and despair to carry the day, we look for and we find causes for joy and celebration. We don't do this by tolerating the negativity, but by transforming it into positivity. In fact, we're even going to sing about it in Russian. The song is called Хорошо, which means it's all good. This production has got butchers and bakers and shtetl dancers and klezmer players. It's even got goats and llamas. It's totally meshuggah, but very happy. My friends, at the end of the day, Хорошо. Life is good. Life is great. It's a chance to celebrate. So thank you for celebrating with us this evening. Take it away, Benny Friedman.
I see the sun come up this morning. I hear my children laughing as they play. The trees start singing without warning. It's gonna be a wonderful day. You know I got no patience for complaining, to stop and kvetch about all the bills I have to pay. Cause even when there should be sunshine but it's raining, my feet will dance me to the kretschma anyway. So manishma, kaktila, the blessings they're coming, but you keep on running, just stop and sing. Раз, два, три, хорошо, хорошо, слава Богу, хорошо. Life is good, life is great, it's a chance to celebrate. Хорошо, хорошо, it's a party, it's a ball, and ain't nothing gonna get me down at all. Хорошо, хорошо, слава Богу, хорошо. Life is good, life is great, Achseloch is all the hate. Хорошо, хорошо, it's a party, it's a ball, and these three little words, they say it all. Хорошо, 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 слава Богу, хорошо, слава Богу, слава Богу, хорошо. So if it happens that you're starting to feel dreary, or if your pot of force has gotten boiled, before you go and start to get all sad and teary, there's a very special lesson to be learned. Because not only when the sun is out and shining, or when you're acing everything you try to do, the master plan is more than just a silver lining. It's a golden world created just for you. So how are the kids? We hope for the day when the whole world will stand up and say, Хорошо, хорошо, слава Богу, хорошо. From the bottom of my heart, from the finish to the start. Хорошо, хорошо, life is holy, life is pure, and every note I sing it's you I'm singing for. Хорошо, хорошо, слава Богу, хорошо. For the blessings in my life, for my Ashes Chayil wife. Хорошо, хорошо, every hour, every day, every breath I have, I Хорошо, хорошо, слава Богу, хорошо. From the bottom of my heart, from the finish to the start. Хорошо, хорошо, life is holy, life is pure. And every note I sing, it's you I'm singing for. Хорошо, хорошо, слава Богу, хорошо. For the blessings in my life, for my Ashes Chayil wife. Хорошо, хорошо, every hour, every day, every breath I have, I'll use only to say. When your heart begins to dance, every breath's another chance. Хорошо, хорошо, слава Богу, хорошо, слава Богу, хорошо. Хорошо, хорошо, слава Богу, хорошо. Здесь друзья и семья, время праздновать пришло. Хорошо, хорошо, жить, любить, смеяться, петь. И не просто жить, а очень хорошо. Хорошо, хорошо, слава Богу, хорошо. Здесь друзья и семья, время праздновать пришло. Хорошо, хорошо, жить, любить, смеяться, петь. И не просто жить, а очень, очень хорошо. Я-бо-бой, ба-ба-ба-бом. Я-бо-бой, ба-ба-ба-бом. Хорошо, хорошо, слава Богу, хорошо. Слава Богу, хорошо. Ну все.
Ей-богу, давай огурчики!